Welcome to SB 405D Project Management. My name is Felicia Frida Iden Aqua. I'll be taking you through this Unit 2, Project Cost and Procurement Management. Specifically, we're going to focus our discussion on Session 6, which is Project Risk Management. By the end of this session, you should be able to define project procurement, risk management, classify the various procurement risks we have, and then discuss some of the sources of this project procurement risk as well. So when we're looking out for procurement risk, what we're looking out is that when we don't plan properly, we don't organize properly, we don't control properly the activities which is involved in our acquisition of goods and services and things to help us complete the project, then we're going to be exposed to what? Uncertainties or things which we didn't really expect, especially when it regards to price, in regards to lead time, in regards to demand, which would affect obviously the continuity of the project, especially when it comes to the flow of supply, whether it is material, skills, capabilities, facilities, and all the other variables. And so procurement risk is very, very key in the, it is super key in the, if you don't properly plan, if you don't properly organize, if you don't properly control, you are going to be exposed to these procurement risk in there. And it can affect the price, which is also a matter of cost. It can affect lead time. So how long even your suppliers, you can get the resources you need. How long it's going to even take you to get it is going to be a problem. And all of these would even affect your flow of supply of material, skills, capability, and all those things. And so there's a need for us to work on this to reduce the impact as and when they even would happen. Procurement risk can be classified into these five major types: the demand fluctuations, the vague price information, unreliable yield, uncertainty lead time, and disrupting risk. When we're looking at demand fluctuations, we're looking at basically they are actually due to numerous factors that influence demand to be lessened or higher. Therefore, companies should be capable of dealing with uncertainties of demand in order for them to supply. Some of the factors that influence demand include, but are not limited to, seasonality, taxation, product availability, and price. If you are doing a new product launch or you're introducing a new product into any market, some of these things can affect it. Sometimes the season may not be the best for the product you are introducing into the market, and so you realize that that project will not be too productive in there. Sometimes the taxes and even the product availability and the price may affect demand. Demand may just drop or demand may be very high in there. And so demand fluctuations actually affect not just the cost, but it also affects the scheduling, which is the time issues in there, and then the scope of the project, and which can also affect when it comes to the success or the failure of the project. So demand uncertainty can be mitigated by using financial products such as options and futures. And in Ghana, we've seen a lot of these issues come in at play as well. Yes, we've seen a lot of, because of the economic issues that keep going up and down. Sometimes demand can be a bit some way, and so people have tend to look at options and futures in order to just work or mitigate the impact of these as and when they happen. Another is, so vague price information can also be an issue you'd have to look out for. So the price of materials and services, which would actually help you complete the project, they are always not stable in the market. We've seen how inflation has been happening since 2021. And so today you go and ask for the price of the product is X amount. The next day you go into the market, it is 2 times the amount. And you realize that all of these is going to affect what? Your projects as well. So when it comes to price, it is very key, and unfortunately, and the inflation and all those other economic variables make it a bit hard. And so there's always that sort of changes or fluctuations in them. And so different purchasing time usually means different purchasing price, and inventory holding length results in different levels of what cost. If you buy something today, if you go and buy X today at 2 cedis, you will meet that same thing 2 cedis the next month you go and buy. And so you realize that the time in which you purchase a thing, you're going to have different prices to the same thing if you buy it at a different time. And sometimes to inventory holding length also results in different levels of cost. There are some things you can buy in bulk and keep, and as you're even buying in bulk, don't forget there are other costs, because if you buy in bulk, you need a place for you to store it. You need security, else people would pilfer it away. You need to get good conditions, lighting and heating and all those things, and they are all their own cost on its own. And so even the length of holding is also going to result in what different levels of cost. And these are all things you need to what be able to look out for, else you end up at a place where you be caught by surprise. And we want to reduce these risks as much as possible. Therefore, it is very prudent for you to develop a very flexible buyer-supplier relationship to reduce price uncertainties and to adopt financial hedging. So I know that right now, the way things are going, prices of things just keep jumping. Maybe you're into production of a project, or your project is doing a production of a product into the market, which is going to be maybe using a lot of oil or something. And we know the price can just go up to 1,000 plus per 25 liter, and it can just go down a little bit, 900 and something. You can then speak to your supplier that, well, I'm going to be using a lot of oil, and so I'm going to buy, let's say, 10 gallons over this 1 week, and so I'm going to buy it from you at 950 cedis. You've hedged it, whether it is increasing more than that or it is going below that. At least you know that you have planned with that and you're going to work with that. So sometimes you can do financial hedging as well, just to help you reduce some of these procurement risk when it comes to purchasing your suppliers. And it's very good to have a very flexible buyer-supplier relationship, so that when things are happening, they can also inform you early. And sometimes information is power. So once you are able to know, you're able to know how to work in. And this is what has caused some people to even do just-in-time production. So they only produce when there's an order, then they go and pick the thing from suppliers and then work on it. They all influence the choice of activities or the steps you take afterwards in there. Unreliable yields are also very key in there, because there's also uncertainty of your yield when it comes from several sources, especially we're looking at suppliers' limited productivity capacity or suppliers' inability to meet project requirements. You may have the project all right, but at the end of the day, you need inputs from places, and sometimes your suppliers may not have the capacity to feed you with those inputs at the time you would need it. And so you realize that their production capacities may be inadequate to meet your input requirements. And sometimes too, they may be able to meet it, but then the quality may not be what you really need to put into your business or to a product at that very point in time. And so when you are facing uncertain yield, two approaches are usually used. One is the diversification, where you're losing multiple suppliers. So I know that X company can give me, let's say, 20 inputs of this particular thing at a point. Meanwhile, I need about 70 to be able to work per week. Then I need to look out for other suppliers. So, okay, I'll go to X for 20, I'll go to Y for 30, then I'll go to Z for the remaining. That is one way to go about it, diversification. The second is collaboration with the supplier in another mechanism to minimize uncertainty as well. So sometimes you can collaborate with them to also reduce those uncertainties, especially when it comes to quality issues as well. You can collaborate with them to ensure that the quality you need is what they are providing for you in there. Then we have uncertain lead time. So uncertain lead time of a project is a major concern when it comes to project organizations. So when you ask for a quotation, the supplier usually replies with the price and the lead time. So they'll tell you, okay, you want 20 mangoes for you to process and then introduce your new mango fruit or mango chips you are doing into the market as your new product into the market. Now I can supply you with 100 mangoes per day at a price of 2 cedis per one. Some to tell you that, oh, I can supply you 10,000 crates of mangoes, but it's going to take you about 3 months for you to receive it, because where I am, I'll have to maybe take it by road or something. And so when you ask for it or when you request for it, it's going to take us this amount of time, weeks or days, for us to be able to get it to you. And so there's sometimes uncertainty of lead time. So if there's uncertainty of lead time, usually they cannot be controlled properly. It would increase total cost and reduce customer service level, a situation that would undermine the performance of the product. It is important to conduct proper ways to control uncertainty of lead time by deciding the optimal ordering time and backup supply channels. So like I made mention, if you need mangoes for your mango chips product which you are introducing to the market, customers won't be pleased if today they come and they have some available, tomorrow they come and they say it's a short, we are now producing, or it is not yet done. They will find other alternatives or other substitutes, which is going to affect your business. However, you also have less choice, because the mangoes you need, they are on their way from Somanya, and it's going to take about 3 weeks before it reaches you in Takoradi. What then do you do? So these are hard to a bit control, and so the best is sometimes you need to also factor in the optimal ordering time. So since you know it's going to take you 3 weeks to receive your mangoes, then that means that you, by every 2 weeks, or worst case every week, you should be ordering, depending on the output, how sales and things are going. You may then need to order for it way ahead of time and order more frequent, so that they keep sending, and you have enough to work with. So sometimes you may do that by looking at the optimal ordering time. When is it best for you to order, so that you are always being able to produce. And sometimes you may have to get supply backup. So yes, maybe I won't just order mangoes from Somanya. Maybe I'll order something from the Volta region or somewhere more closer as well, to just get some mangoes to be able to do my mango chips at all the times. And there's also what we call the disruption risk. We're saying that supply disruption risk is not too common in most projects, but it can occur. So this mostly poses as a high risk to the project completion and closure. So what then is supply disruption risk? It could arise as a result of the inability of the supplier to supply the right quantity at the right time in the right quality. So yes, we did the invoice first, we brought the bids, there's a contract and all those things, where we spelled out that X company are supposed to provide us A, B, C, D at this particular times, or with this particular quality specifically. We want X quality or Y quality. And then sometimes this may happen where they are not able to supply the right quantity. You said you wanted X quantity, you wanted 20 pieces of this or 100 cartons of this, and they've brought you 50 cartons, or they've brought you 60 cartons. That was the wrong quantity. It could be that yes, you need it for production, and so you needed the consignments to come in latest maybe like Sunday for you to start your production on Monday, and then these things arrive on Wednesday or on Thursday. It can be that the quality, yes, you are looking for fresh mangoes, and then they bring you mango, which you're going to do mango chips, and you need more of crunchy, and they've brought you overly ripe mango, which is just oozing out. All of this is going to affect what? Your output. And so these things don't often happen that much, but they do happen. And so when they happen, you realize that they are things you'd have to also check. And so when it comes to such situation, the buyer mostly configures the supply base with backup suppliers. However, a large number of suppliers may result in higher cost. If you're buying from one person, sometimes economies of scale, because you are buying large quantities, they may give you some discounts and give you some sort of benefits as well. But if you're buying from different places, they may have varying prices, where they are coming from and all those things. The cost can also go high. So in as much as we've been talking about backup supplies, These backup suppliers also come with their own cost, which can affect the project as well. So it is important for you to find an optimum number of suppliers. Because we're making mention of backup suppliers, it doesn't mean go and get 10 when at the end of the day 10 may be too much cost. It may eat up all the money or the funds available to the project. So you need to get that optimal balance of suppliers who would work for you as well. Then we have multiple uncertainties. In current complex uncertain business environment, the procurement risk could be interrelated, which causes a more destructive economic consequence. In addition, mistaking identifying the risk causes underutilization of regular suppliers and overutilization of backup suppliers. If you're not able to really identify some of these risks, you'd end up at the situation where you just have to fall on to more backup suppliers, which is more cost to you. And we made mention not so long ago that these various suppliers come with cost because they are going to produce you at different prices. They may be in different locations and all those things, which is going to affect your cost. So in order for you to address this, you need to always consider multiple uncertain factors, which would be more important. And so project organizations that procure from 2 suppliers that are subject to all or nothing disruptive risk and random yield risk respectively to fulfill its deterministic demand. So you can either provide me with all of it or nothing. Then at the end of the day, we are also a bit safe in the project. So in summary, we have looked at the procurement risk management and we've looked at some classifications of it as well. I hope you did enjoy the session and I hope you did learn a lot from this unit as well. Thank you.